Well, hello, my Midwest subscribers. This is the weekly water briefing for June 9th, 2013 for the Midwest. Well, it's been sort of interesting this spring. I guess it's always interesting in spring. I have some big changes to talk about this week for parts of the nation, but I wanted to start off by taking a look at soil moisture across the Midwest. And predominantly, it's been a story of above normal soil moisture, especially in the very far upper Midwest. The areas in blue are very saturated soils, green is wet, and you can see that North Dakota, large parts of Iowa, large parts of Wisconsin, large parts of Missouri and Illinois have been very wet. On the other hand, you can see that area of yellow in parts of Ohio and Indiana. That's been a bit drier, and definitely drier in the western parts of the Midwest, western Kansas, western Nebraska. So we find ourselves in a situation that the areas in the blue need to dry out a bit, and the areas in the red and yellow need to get a little bit more rain, actually a lot more rain, and the areas in white that are unshaded just basically need to keep around normal. So that's the starting point for today's briefing. Now, I wanted to show how much precipitation fell last week, and generally speaking, I think the rainfall forecasts have been a bit higher lately than what we've received. But there's still been some rainfall over large parts of Iowa, Minnesota. You can see the green there, that's about an inch or so. And really the heavier rain for this time of year is the yellow, and that's 3 inches. But if you look at those pockets of yellow, they're really pretty scattered. Now we have other areas that did not receive much rain at all, and I'm going to outline it right here. This area really received very little rain, and there was more significant topsoil drying within that region. Now if we look at the 7-day surplus or deficit, I'm going to be showing this a lot as we get into the summertime months. Areas in yellow are amounts of rain that we had deficits over the last week, and that ranged from an inch or two, generally around an inch. And Missouri and Illinois have been very wet, so that, generally speaking, has been welcome. Of that surplus we've had of 3 or 4 inches over the last month, this is about an inch or so. We've sort of lost that this last week, and that's helped upper soil moisture. Everywhere else, it looks like it was somewhat of a hit or miss. We've had a lot of neutral conditions over the last week. So even though there have been some areas of above normal or below normal, generally elsewhere it's been fairly much hit or miss or near normal. Now from a drought perspective, this is going to come into play as we get into the summer. I'm going to be looking at this quite a bit and talking about this in my weekly outlooks and my newsletters. But we really have a very defining line here. I've indicated that in purple, where to the west and southwest of that line it's much drier. So you see a very strong gradient from western Nebraska, western Kansas, western South Dakota versus areas to the east. Areas to the east are in much better shape going into summer than the areas to the west of that line. So really wish we could get more rain into the central and western parts of those areas than we received during the spring months. But there's a very strong dividing line right now that persists as we shift from spring more and more into summer. So let's talk about the big picture, the steering winds. I said we were going to have some fairly big changes and pronounced changes. This is the current jet stream. We have a dip over the middle part of the nation. The red is the core of the jet stream, and that's producing some showers and thunderstorms over the middle part of the nation. So the week's going to start off with some scattered showers and thunderstorms over the Midwest. Right now it looks to me like nothing all that much out of the ordinary. By the way, I did look back at severe weather last week, and I usually put that on there, but there wasn't a whole lot of severe weather. There was some scattered hail reports in Nebraska. Other than that, it was fairly quiet as far as severe weather goes. Okay, so the steering winds this week. This is where I said we're going to have big changes. Look at how much this changes. Rather than dipping to the south, it lifts to the north. The areas of yellow are these little pockets of energy. Now, for the Midwest, it's not going to be that clear cut. You're going to have enough type of upper atmospheric energy, but it's going to be weak, that will produce at least a chance of some showers. But the big trend is with that high pressure pushing to the north, that's going to be, generally speaking, warm and dry. Now to the south of our area, it's going to be hot and very dry. But in the upper Midwest, it looks like it's going to be above normal temperatures, rebounding temperatures, warmer temperatures, but there could be just enough jet energy to bring us some showers or thunderstorms from time to time. Now I mentioned that this pattern is going to be persistent, This is the 6 to 10 day jet stream pattern. And again, you can see this is the very similar pattern. It's going to be pretty stable with troughs of low pressure in the east and west and this bowing of the jet stream right in the middle part of the nation. Again, this means temperatures will be on the warm side and precipitation will be on the light side, but there are some caveats to that. And one of the things that I'm going to be looking at here closely is there could be just enough jet energy over parts of the Midwest to bring some showers and thunderstorms from time to time, and that could be pretty good conditions overall, especially for agriculture. On the other hand, there could be areas that are going to be drying out very significantly. So the precipitation forecast for the next 7 days shows this active band that we've seen for quite some time now. It extends right from North Dakota down through Minnesota, Iowa, into Illinois. That's really been the hot spot like we've seen for quite some time. And that's going to be, with that upper energy, that's going to be moving through very early in the period and then in the middle part of the week. I don't think it's going to be anything all that extensive because that upper atmospheric energy is very weak. Now, if you look anywhere from Kansas on south and western parts of Nebraska, anywhere in here, we're looking at a very strong, dry, and warm spell that's going to be lasting quite some time. So when we look at soil moisture changes with that other upper pattern, what we do see here from a national perspective and a Midwest perspective is generally much drier upper soils. Now that area in blue are increases in upper soils, and that's what I mentioned, that there could be just enough upper energy to produce a swath of increasing soil moisture, but it's going to be highly variable. It's going to be hard to predict where that will be, but this model at least shows some possibility, and I think I wouldn't argue with that too much as far as a little bit of an increase. But overall, it looks like Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, most likely most of central and southern Illinois are going to be experiencing soil moisture decreases over the next week or two. Matter of fact, if we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook for temperature and precipitation, temperature on the left, red is above normal, and precipitation, brown, is below normal. So you can see here with the jet stream, I'm going to draw this here, with that jet stream bowing, it's going to be moving in this direction generally. And what you see here is you're going to see the warm temperatures south of the jet stream. And this could bring, this is why it's near normal temperatures. I think it'll be slightly above normal from southern Iowa on south. But with that jet stream, it could bring just enough energy to keep some scattered precipitation through here. And that's why I said that could be good agricultural conditions right along there. But anywhere south of that bowing, it's going to be dry, warm and dry. So here's the longer range precipitation I wanted to show you. This goes towards the end of June, and it shows that the most likely active area of precipitation would be from Iowa, northern Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio. Some of those areas could use this precipitation, Iowa and Indiana. Elsewhere, it's going to be normal at best, and very well it could be below normal. So the takeaway points from this week's briefing: big changes with this building upper ridge pattern. Most areas will be experiencing warmer temperatures and drying soil, but I think there'll be just enough jet energy right through the next couple weeks to produce scattered showers and thunderstorms over parts of the upper Midwest. It's a little hard to say where that'll be, but I did describe the best axis would be from North Dakota through Iowa into northern Illinois, northern Indiana, perhaps Ohio. Now, if you have any questions at all, you can always email me, john@bluewateroutlook.com. I will be sending out information throughout the week, and if you don't hear from me, I will be talking to you again next week. Thank you.